Hi, Warriors. Just like Blake says, never forget. Hard to believe it was 23 years ago, 9/11.
Crazy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a dream. Row, row, row your boat, everybody. Hi, AJ. Ingmar, how are you? Brand, yes, I'm gonna uh, hail the coach in days where there is a war and data flying everywhere. Okay, so the data today is, I think we have an inflation number, and don't we have ECB today, Blake?
No, that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay.
That's tomorrow. Yeah. So it's just CPI today, which is obviously a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, lot of big
Okay.
things actually happened today or overnight. But
Okay.
anyway, I know we're going to get to all that, so I'll let you go. Continue.
All right, buddy. So, AJ, hello, and everyone here, Patrick, Glenn. Okay, Hugo, how are you? So, start off with the euro. Is it discounting what the ECB is going to do? We did achieve 38%. Doesn't have to go to 50%. And, what happened here in the dollar is so far we weren't able to take out this high. I still think that what we could do is, before it's done, is that this is A and this is B and this is A of B and this is going to be C of B up to here. So as long as it stays above 101 now. So this just could be a pullback. And if the number, since everything we're looking at is the economy weakening, um, you probably it might be more bearish for the market to have a good number because that inflation coming down is a sign of the economy weakening. I just have one thing to show that I think is going to be important because this was a leadership group in the market up until yesterday when some credit card companies and banks reported. Um, that was a pretty big down day in the banks. And this, see, we were making new highs, unlike Nasdaq. One of the leadership groups because of yields. The bank were the banks. So I think you have to keep an eye on what happens. And XLF is very low beta compared to I think Goldman was down $20. It's something that you have to keep an eye on in the background because if the economy weakens, credit quality and credit issues begin to pop up. And when the yield curve begins on invert and begin to steepen. So something to keep an eye on. This is very important. We could end up with a false breakout here and another one here. So we'll see what happens. You have to pay attention to the banks because a lot of the guys that I talk to, analysts that I talk to, what they're really worried about is a financial issue with the banks that just disappeared after SVB. And there's a lot of things going on with requirements for banks. Anyway, it's the heart of our financial system. So keep an eye on what's happening to uh, I'd say credit cards and pay attention to money center banks. Um, why don't I bring in Ryan? And Ryan, you could update us. Blake said there's a lot of things that happen overnight. You want
Morning,
to?
mate.
Good morning to you, my friend.
Yeah, just before you move on from that, you're quite right to highlight the banking sector. We had Goldman Sachs
Yeah,
CFO yesterday saying trading business is down 10% in Q3.
yeah,
So there's an activity worry. You talk about credit. The consumer credit numbers earlier this week came up 25 billion, which was double what was expected. So that's a number to keep an eye on in case we're starting to see people borrowing more to just pay the bills.
yeah. They're
So
buying
yeah, there's
groceries. They're buying groceries with their credit cards, bro.
yeah, yeah. It's a volatile number. Let's not dismiss that. But you know what I look for? I look for trends in the data. So if that starts trending higher and higher, then we've got a potential problem on our hands, and that's the signals you got to look at. And yeah, that is going to play right into the banks. And then if that happens again, as I mentioned yesterday, it's hard to see how stocks go to all-time highs in that situation.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I was talking before a meeting, and the S&Ps were down 35 or so. Here was a candle, and they acted just like a beach ball yesterday. They have that old bull market feel, that, like this didn't even happen. I'm just saying, 55 is a big level. But here's how it is for me psychologically. It's hard for me to believe probably when we do have a top that it's a top for a while. And I don't know if this is, you know, I'm not, it could blow off again to new highs into October. So, tough call. I think it's going to be, it's hard to have confidence after all this time of, breaks just turning on a dime. I mean, that's what happened here in August. Was there a reason to buy it on this candle? And then when it did this, you go, oh, well, just, I'll sell a retracement. And then we had this. Or is this for real? And we're rallying back to this breakdown, this 5,500, and we're going to roll over.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the dollar, the Canadian got back, I think, 38% up here. And 36, we know, was such a big level. So, I thought we might get a little bit more.
The
Maybe
world and
that's
his
it.
mate has short this one in the chat room.
What's that?
The world and his mate has short this one in the chat room, including me.
Okay. All
That
right.
136, 15, 20 level
Yeah.
was the top of that support band from there down
Right.
to 135.80.
Right.
And
And,
it held like a demon.
and
And
here you
and
can
you know,
see.
one of the things I was just going to
Go
add
ahead,
really
bro.
quick, Dale, just one of the things that you might want to take a look at too, just regarding the dollar CAD. And Ryan's right. Everybody's been shorting the dollar CAD, which is scary when we're all doing it but
Yeah.
around the 136 level. But take a look at crude oil. Crude just made a false breakdown below a lot of key levels yesterday, and it's bounced back pretty aggressively today. So if we get
Okay.
if we get a continued bounce here in crude, maybe that lends some support to the Canadian dollar. That
Yeah.
just some food for
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. That's good because, I mean, I had the breakdown way up here. Um, but you're saying there was another breakdown on this candle, and now we're back inside of it. So you could probably show
Yeah,
the look.
you can look left and you can just kind of zoom out or zoom out and you can see no the other direction. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, you can see that false breakdown of that low that'll be just to the left of your chart there. Yep.
Okay.
So all those little support levels, we just broke through it and bounced back today. So anyway.
Blake, I've had this line drawn for a long time
Mhm.
on the weekly. Maybe it's a bottom, but here I had this line here, and then I noticed that it's about 63. That's 2.618. So I mean, this was, just an average line based upon a couple of prior lows, but always kind of thought it would get here.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
we'll see.
the thing about crude is I think it's been a big positioning story. Obviously, there's a lot of to do with OPEC and outputs and Libya and a lot of different stories. But I think the general consensus of the market being very, very long crude up in the 70s, thinking, and I
Yeah,
and I was in the
war.
same thought process. Yeah,
Me
you got
too.
all these
Yeah.
conflicts. It's like you never know when crude's going to be, it could be up $10. And so I think you had most people just position long and
Yeah.
and obviously
They're
it's
gone.
yeah,
Yeah.
they got wiped out the last couple of days, last week or whatever.
I think that you have to be on the lookout for buys in crude for sure. Now, we'll see what happens. If it's turning here, that would also build the case for S&Ps to be okay. because oil shares are a pretty big part of it. I wanted to, do you have a voice today, K-Man? How you feeling, buddy?
Starting to come back, Dale, starting to come back.
Okay, good, bro. We've all been keeping a good thought for you that
I,
you heal fast. So, your view of yen finally, taking out this 142 level. Looks like there's something here at 140, but uh,
yeah, we're still some levels there, yeah, mid 141s, and and I still the same thing. Asia market looks to sell dollar yen, New York as well, but then when you come back in Europe, they seem to rather correct everything. It's still a two-three-way market.
yeah,
Of
okay,
course, people want to sell dollars. The BOJ officials are keeping the rate hikes alive with some conditions. Um, it is basically the only dollar that is extremely weak right now. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm still not convinced this is a viable long-term move, but you can't fight the overall yields environment coming down, right,
yeah,
around Japan. And that was the condition for the Japanese yen to strengthen lastingly. And we are in this kind of market right now. So I'm not going to fight it, but I want to see how we get over the central bank hump now. ECB, FOMC, maybe even Bank of England all together and see where we are then.
okay. Metalheads, gold silver ratio, double top.
I think,
That's
yeah,
so if that's a case, silver's going to lead the way here. We had this nice little move here. You know, that's what you want. You want silver to lead the way. You still worry? Did you hang on to your gold during that,
yes,
kind of fine capitulation we had?
yes, I
Uh,
did.
all right, so that looks pretty
And I'm
good.
looking, and I'm actually looking. I think it's not going to take two weak numbers, whether it's today or going forward for it finally to break up. We're coming back all the time to that 25, 25, 30, and I
Yeah,
think it's even if you look at other instruments, it's one that keeps on coming back. Yeah, silver is
it
boring as
does.
well, but I think we're just getting ready for the breakup, you know.
Okay. Yeah, silver doing much better. Gold silver ratio would say go with silver. I ask myself this, and then I'll ask Ryan, then Blake. What the hell is gold waiting for to accelerate? The next wave down in the dollar?
Because we are at high levels and the market is wondering what to do. I mean, you look at the
Yeah,
stock market, we're doing the same thing. We're talking about that on the flow show this morning. You are. I mean, regardless what we can think or that will happen in the future, we are
yeah,
trading only 2% of all-time highs in the S&P. I mean,
yeah,
um,
right,
I think some of the instruments are still there, ready for another leg, perhaps before the capitulation. Also, I don't know, but
yeah.
even if stocks start to decline, I think stuff like the metals, and also noted over the weekend or so that article but it was only talking about PBOC, not of the rest of the Chinese community. But PBOC has not bought gold for 4 months.
And it's
Imagine
still
that.
going up,
Sorry, and it's
and
still
it's holding
holding. So
and
imagine
going
that
up.
those people are pushed back into it. This thing is
Yeah.
26 and a half or higher, you know. I don't know. I mean, still the way I'm looking at it anyway. Silver is doing quite all right. I think that's got a little push in the back thanks to NFP being weaker, but not completely abandoning ship. So there may be another leg back up to $30 or so in there.
Okay. I've been talking about the Widowmaker, and if we get over 220, that's going to look pretty good. And then, when you respect analysts and they come out and, talk about it, Katie Stockton was on CNBC. You guys know we have Katie here every quarter, and she was featuring the potential of a natural gas bottom. So, Katie Stockton, who said she's a fan of mine when I said, "Oh, I don't have any fans," and she said, "Well, I'm a fan of yours." And anyway, maybe hanging out in F.A.C.E and seeing natural gas charts here. No, I'm kidding. She doesn't need me. Anyway, so keep an eye on that. Natural gas stocks could be an area to get into. They've been beat up, but that's holding well.
Yeah.
And
And hey, I was going to say, hey Dale, we got about 15 minutes before
okay,
CPI comes out.
all
Can
right,
I prep everybody?
yeah. Just one last thing: wheat. Okay, it's the strength of the grains, and this is a daily. We get through the 200-day measure 650. Go ahead, bro.
All right, thanks. And thanks, Dale, for taking us around the globe and through the commodities market too. Obviously today's September 11th. It's been 23 years since the tragedy in New York, and it's hard not to sit back and reminisce about the just horrible day in history for the U.S. And so anyway, that's top of mind for me. But we have CPI coming out, and that's going to be pretty important. As the guys were just talking about a little bit earlier, we saw a big move in the yen. There's a lot of comments from the BOJ, but let me ask you this, Ryan: was there anything new that came from the BOJ last night that you saw that you're like, oh wow, look at those headlines, came across? I didn't see anything that was like jarring to me.
No, there was the one comment, which is a bit of a repeat comment that all the BOJ members are popping up with, is that, yes, they're ready to hike again if everything performs to their outlook and forecasts and whatever. It's
Sure.
that if line. But the move last night, maybe a bit of that was on Nakagawa. We keep getting this. We keep getting these BOJs popping up and reminding everyone that the BOJ is still in the game. During the day today, we'll trade CPI and everything else that goes on with the US, and then you get to the evening and everyone forgets about the BOJ, particularly coming after the story, the sources piece yesterday that they weren't going to hike next week. The market, reads that headline and gets a little reminder, so we get a move, and as we've seen, it reverses again.
And it coincided with the Harris Trump debate, which
Yeah,
I
that
actually
one.
sat and watched last night. And one of the things that I tend to be a little bit more sensitive through these debates. Again, I don't want this to be a political show, but one of the things that I think everybody that was watching last night that's in the markets was watching the reaction in crypto is a pretty good barometer on who's doing better, if you will. Bitcoin got hit right around the debates as they were coming out last night, and as there was the presidential debate, which suggests that Trump might have lost his cool a little bit. But and I think, and the reason why I say that is because I think the dollar was slumping at the same time. It's hard to get the two mixed up, between what's moving the market and what's not. But the one thing that I will say though, overall, is if Harris continues to pull a little bit better, and remember, we got a long time before the presidential election. But if she continues to pull better, it is going to weigh on the dollar a little bit, in my opinion. Dollar should be a binary election trade. Trump wins, dollar strengthens. Trump loses, dollar drops, or vice versa, however you want to look at it. I just think it's something that we need to be keeping in touch with, especially as we head into this election season. I want to also show you real quick a lot of the flags that are developing in the FX market. So you got sterling, despite the weaker UK data overnight. Now that was a swath of weak data, wasn't it, K-Man?
Yeah, it was, but somewhat partially give backs for what happened in June, partially, I would say, where we had a few better numbers, but it's all still hanging around. Well, IP wasn't good. And then, yeah, but it's all hanging around the zero level. Yeah, the what is a bit of a risk for sterling is that the market is a bit long sterling, and if UK falls back into European style clutches of growth, meaning anemic growth, yeah, market may decide to get out of it a little bit, but we only had a very limited impact because it's a 1 month, and yeah, we will have to see how that evolves really. If it's just a give back for prior months, it's only a temporary setback for sterling, I would say. But yeah, we'll have to wait for next data, especially I would say on the crosses. I mean, because the cable as a dollar currency is probably going to be driven by what we see on inflation and other data in the US right now ahead of FOMC and Bank of England next week.
Yeah.
And regarding to the dollar, and yeah, George also said on the chat is that Trump is so pro crypto that him, well, according to the polls at least, losing the debate saw crypto lower and the dollar a bit lower as well because the market is firmly in the camp where Harris' victory would be straight away negative dollar, where Trump could see a bit of a knee-jerk reaction higher first before
Yep.
I think worse hits the fan.
Yeah, I actually, and without getting too deep into this conversation, because we still got to look around the markets, I do believe that a Trump win would be bullish the dollar, and I agree with you. It would be more of a knee jerk, probably over the course of a couple of weeks reaction. So, and then eventually we'd probably see some dollar weakness, but that's a conversation that we'll have weeks from now. I want and you notice like Sterling stopped at the 38% retracement. Watch this triangle breakout point, which is the red line. You can actually make this one red too. Probably give us a little bit, you guys a little bit better view of what I'm thinking as far as why we're sustaining a break. If we get back below basically 130 in sterling, it's going to be a pretty bearish event. You have Aussie also bull flag pattern, Kiwi also well, it could be a flag pattern, but it's sitting above the 38% retracement. Euro dollar still flag pattern as well. 110 really key level of support today, especially on a stronger CPI number. And then dollar yen, obviously we got to be just aware, as I think K-Man said a little bit earlier, it is really the dollar that looks the most vulnerable. We're trying to break below 142, which is pretty critical support, but we start getting below the big figure at 140. That's where things start to look a little dicey for the dollar yen. And then obviously we've been talking about the dollar CAD, which is in a bear flag pattern, holding that really key resistance. Obviously, you can see with all the little circles and resistance zone how big of a level that we've all known it's been for I think we've traded against this 136 level on both sides for
months.
months and months and months and months. Yes, you are correct. One of the other things I wanted to talk about really fast and then go into what you guys think are your best setups for today. The Mexican peso is another Trump barometer, in my opinion. AMLO is, we talk a little bit about this in a bit, but you can see this is the headlines that came out like last night regarding Mexico passing the judicial reform. And this is the thing that investors are so scared of, so scared of in the markets. But you can see the Mexican peso has strengthened as a result. And I think that's really because of last night's debates. Does that make the Mexican peso, a buy right now? As long as it stays below 20. Yeah, I don't know about that. I still believe that, and we get any type of risk off, and the dollar mex heads higher. But I think that's what you're seeing today. Is you're seeing a little bit of this Trump Harris debate.
A Harris pullback.
Yeah, the Harris pullback. There you go. You can call it the Harris pullback if you will. I actually took my Euro Mexican peso off that I was long. I basically flatted it today because of I was thinking that news was going to propel it higher, but I think the Trump Harris trumps I didn't mean
Well, I
bad
hear
pun. I
they're
didn't,
trashing DJT in the aftermarkets.
are
It's
they
getting
really?
hit hard.
Oh, gee. Oh,
Yeah, it's
geez.
getting hit hard.
I didn't even think to look, but
There
oh,
it is.
damn, down 12%,
Yeah,
pre-market. Wow. Yikes. That's
diverging by it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know about that. But anyway, worth noting. So since you're speaking, coach, and you know what? I saw Greg is here.
Yeah, let
Real quick.
Greg come in.
Gregor,
You know,
real fast. What are you looking at, man? I'll comb through 2 minutes of some of your charts.
Yeah, actually, I like silver. We have seen some very nice rebound on silver, and we talked about this one on Friday from that 61.8% PIB level. So I think that silver has a very good upside potential if today we will see a daily close above 29, which is this channel that you're looking at. I think that there can
no.
be more upside. So of course, a lot will depend on today's US CPI in a few minutes here. But overall, I mean, dollar is still in a downtrend here, and I just think that sooner or later we will see a resumption lower, even if the CPI will disappoint. I just think that dollar is still sell the rallies.
Okay. So dollar still sell the rally. So let me go look really quick at the dollar index, and based on what you have on ForexAnalytix here, let me pull up the Dixie Elliott wave, and here we go. So that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, we are in consolidation phase right now, and I think even if we go back to 102, that's still a very good solid resistance, and that's also the trend line lines right in that area connected from 2023 lows.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually looking at the same thing yesterday. If you look at the daily charts and basic technical analysis, I was like, man, this could be developing a bearish wedge. So that's interesting. You're seeing the same thing as well, and your wave counts match up. So for those, and thank you, Greg. I'm sorry, just
Can
seeing
I
you right
ask him one
now.
question?
Oh, please do as I get set
Uh,
up. Yes.
Greg, is there a remote possibility that when the S&Ps recently failed, that could have been a fifth wave failure, truncated fifth?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Okay,
truncated drift are so uncommon. You can label it only when you look back and you have no other choice but label it as a truncated fifth. And
okay,
currently,
thank you.
I believe we can label it as an ongoing correction.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much, Gregor, for jumping in here. And like I said, I'm sorry I didn't give you a whole lot of time. We're just kind of pressed for time this morning. Real quick, let me go around the horn.
My
Dale,
guest
what are you
canceled, so
looking
you
at
could,
today?
after the number, you could bring him back in.
Okay, Greg, if you want to stick around, we'll do. So what are you thinking today, Dale?
Well, after looking at Greg's dollar look, it doesn't look like, I've been sitting here waiting for 102.50 to be a seller in Dixie. So right now, that's in question. A hot number, maybe I'll get it,
Okay,
but
and yeah,
we'll
we could
see.
get a hot number today. I think a lot of people are discounting the fact that CPI could come in a little warmer than expected. All right, Ryan, what are you thinking today for a setup? And by the way, there's yields onto the right, S&P right in the middle, dollar index to the left, and then our data flash from ForexAnalytix is right here, and then we can see the FX view here. So, what are you thinking, Ryan?
I think there's a few levels we need to watch here. We know the 136, 15, 20 in dollar CAD, at 131.10 in cable. Aussie dollar is a big one at 66.40s, 55.00 at in stocks. I just want to reply to Dale's thoughts on stocks. I think if we see a retest of those highs and it holds, I don't think we see those highs for a long time after.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. K-Man, I know just a few seconds. What are you looking at today?
Gold 22, 25.30. If that goes, should accelerate. Aussie, yeah, looking anywhere between 66.40 and 66 a figure. And on the other side, I think if we get a real sticky one, perhaps finally dollar Swiss showing a bit of top side again. But I mean, that's in case we get a very sticky surprise. Very
Yeah,
sticky.
there's some speculation that the Swiss National Bank could cut 50, and that is one that's a week after the Fed next week. Then the following week is Swiss National Bank. I'll actually be looking to short Swiss franc into that over the course of the next week or two. Data is out,
In
and
line, in line.
look at the month over month was a tick higher. Year
Mhm.
over year
Getting a
is a
rally
tick
in the
lower.
dollar.
Yeah, but I don't
Core
know if it's going to
core
sustain.
rounded even 0.3 versus 0.2 expected.
Getting
Yeah.
a rally in yields.
So the year over year came in line, but the month over month, that's
Looks
some
like I
sticky
might
data.
get my 102.50 if it breaks your black line here, Blake, in the Dixie. What
Yeah, I
is that
mean,
black line up there? Does that come off a 4 hour trend line or?
it is a 4 hour chart. So
Okay.
we might get a little bit of a reaction here. Um, and I think you got to keep in. Yeah, I look at the Canadian just failed at the 136 level. Let's see if
Okay.
how the dollar
Yeah.
yen reacts while it's above 142. I think this one could squeeze a little bit here. Because we're back above
I think
142.
that core number keeps the stickiness in inflation. Headline came down, but the core held up. Even though it was expected to, it's still a bit of a reality check that maybe inflation is not coming down as quickly as they would like.
Yeah, it's a core month over month, and that's the thing that might get the attention of everyone. Very interesting. I thought that was a bit of the risk today, but stocks are not liking it. And Grega, what are your thoughts here? You were expecting some dollar weakness.
Weakness.
We got a little bit of dollar strength. Do you have any
Well,
thoughts following the data?
since we are around expectations, I don't think that we will have any kind of a new significant change in trends here. I still think that that's a corrective phase, and we have, of course, the very important ECB tomorrow. So maybe the euro will not go far later today, but for the overall dollar view, I'm still sticking with the bearish
Can we
view.
see what this be a C wave, Grega, where we take out the high from a week or so ago and it's still bearish?
For the dollar,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I think that we are in a wave C, as you said, yes,
Okay. So we could
for the
go one
dollar,
above that high at 102
yes,
for a
for,
C. Okay.
yes, of course, for an ABC rally rather than a triangle or something.
Flat. Yeah. Something
Yeah.
flat.
All
All right.
right.
Well, I
Well,
feel better. How about everyone feel okay?
why that inflation is still strong?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, let's face it. Why why will people be surprised that he gave up on the fight of inflation to keep asset prices up?
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean, bro? I mean,
no, I'm with you.
I look, he didn't want to be, he didn't want to be, Arthur Burns, right? In the 70s, before Volcker had to get draconian. In the 70s, we had 3 episodes. Well, we just finished episode 1. Okay. There's another 10 years of commodity inflation anyway. Wages, I think that he's, I know guys that there's one camp says that he's way behind the curve, and there are other guys that think that he's capitulating on inflation too early, and this is a policy error.
Yeah, well,
Easy.
we'll see if it is in the coming months. That's for sure. I know, Dale, you have an interview
No,
today.
no, no, canceled.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
your
so
interview
you guys have.
canceled. All right.
So if
Well,
there's anything else you guys want to wrap it with, she's a new mother and babysitter stuff. Anyway,
oh, that happens.
she
That
wanted us
happens.
to.
I think most
She
of us
asked
with
if we
kids
could.
could relate to that.
Yeah. Well, she said, can we record one? I go, Face is live.
That's right. It's live in the market live.
We're
Well,
live, man.
I want to just say this really quick, and then we can sign off. If you look at all the moves, the euro's approaching the 110 level. I still think that's pretty critical. Sterling's still holding up its flag. Aussie is still holding up its flag. The dip was bought even on fresh trend lows in the Aussie. The dollar Canadian still struggling to get above 136 despite the sticky number. So, if you're looking around, you're like, okay, I need to be buying dollars here. Just remember, sellers are stepping in ahead of that data or after the data. So just be a little cautious here, throughout the course of the day. I was hoping that we get maybe some dollar downside follow through, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. And by the way, equities, just FYI, you look at the S&P. Yeah, we had a little push lower because people were like, "Oh, sticky inflation," but I don't think that
It's
data
acting like a beach ball again.
yeah, it's not going to change the Fed's not going to not cut. You know what I mean? The Fed's still going to cut. Whether they cut 50 is probably, I mean, the market's already priced out the idea that it's not going to happen with 50 basis points. So, probably end up being 25 and, they're going to save their powder for potentially a bigger cut if they need it, the last two meetings of the year. So
Yeah,
anyway,
and it's after the election, so they can't be accused of being political.
right,
They
exactly.
they could use their bazookas in November after the election if they need it.
Sure, exactly. So Dale, I want to thank you for guiding us. I need to remind everybody. Remember, this is our 8-year anniversary prices. People wait around all year for these lows for ForexAnalytix. So take advantage of the prices while you have them because when they're gone, they are gone. And then also, you guys, for those of you that are interested in the trader funding program, we have a very special offer starting tomorrow for the remainder of the month. So stick around for that for those of you that are trader funding program interested folks and to take advantage of this volatility because these are the markets you want to be trading. These are the markets where you can make money. So Dale, Ryan, K-Man, Grega, and everybody joining in, thank you so much for the day.
Happy anniversary, team. I mean,
Cheers,
dream
everyone.
team. We put our hearts into this business and our wallets, but not just our wallets. So remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. If you can't get into the room for in chat after F.A.C.E is over, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Take advantage of sales. This is a deflationary event in an inflationary environment. Okay, take advantage of deflation. And that's a wrap. I'll see everyone tomorrow, ECB tomorrow. I think it's going to be a big day in the Euro tomorrow. So be here. And that's a wrap, everyone. Good luck, good hunting. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios. Came in. I hope every day you feel
Thank
stronger and
you.
stronger. And Ryan, thank you. Great levels and everything. I enjoy working with you and Kay and Blake. It goes without saying. I think Blake
Likewise,
should
mate.
win. Blake should win an Emmy for best technical analysis on the net.
Thanks,
So
Coach. Appreciate you,
you'll
buddy.
be on the red carpet too for top technicians. And everyone, thanks for hanging out with us for a little while. See everyone.